Hare Krishna. So Arjun, very nicely, he has requested Krishna that, oh Krishna, please reveal your opulences to us. And how? Vistarena, in detail. Now after hearing request of Arjuna for good number of verses, now Krishna is going to start speaking. Now Krishna is going to speak about his opulences. But before that, he's telling something very important to all of us. Let's hear from Krishna now. Shloka number 19. Shri Bhagavan Hantate kathayishyami divyayatma vibhutayah pradhanyatah kuru shrestha nastyanto vistarasya me. So here Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is speaking, Shri Bhagavan. He's saying, Hanta, yes, te kathayishyami, I will tell you. Yes, Arjuna, I will tell you. What? Divya hi atma vibhutayah. I will tell you about my splendorous manifestation, the vibhutis or opulences. But then he is saying, pradhan yatah kuru shrestha, O kuru shrestha, O best among the kurus, O Arjuna, pradhan yatah. I will only tell about those which are prominent. Why? Why Krishna? Why are you not telling everything? Because nasti antah vistarasya me. Because my opulences are unlimited. How will I tell all that? So here Krishna is saying that yes, Arjuna, I will fulfill your request. I will speak. But then I am just going to tell some opulences which are prominent. Because my opulences are unlimited. So very nice thing which Krishna is telling here. Here itself it is clear that Krishna's opulences are unlimited. Here it is said that it is not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Now we just see our senses, they are blunt, they are dead and they have a great limitation when it comes to day-to-day dealings also. Like the eyes cannot see beyond the visible range. The ears cannot hear beyond the audible range, that is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So like this, we understand that it's very difficult for these senses to understand Krishna's all opulences. So here Krishna is telling that I will speak about those which you can actually perceive, which you can actually think of. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or in any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to devotees as nectar, thus the devotees enjoy them. So it is said, Ananta, from his 1,000 hoods, he is trying to describe the glories of Lord Krishna and still he is not successful. So who can describe? If Ananta Dev, if he cannot describe, then how can we, Baddha Jivas, who are stuck in the cycle of birth and death, describe something when it comes to Krishna's opulences? So we devotees, we are not very interested in capturing all the opulences. What are we interested? We are interested in relishing the attributes or aspects of Krishna. That is name, form, qualities, pastimes and abode of the Lord. So this is what we are interested in. We don't want to capture that. We don't want to capture Krishna because we know very well that Krishna cannot be captured. Not possible. So in this way, it is very nicely mentioned here that the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to devotees as nectar. So in discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss them. Now same thing Krishna also spoke. In the same chapter, 10th chapter, if I am not wrong, shloka number 9, he says, Macchitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So Krishna is saying, my pure devotees, they keep discussing about me. Kathayantascha mam nityam and tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They are fully satisfied and ramanti cha. They are relishing like anything. So in this way, pure devotees, when they come together, when they discuss Krishna Katha, or chant the holy names of the Lord, they relish it so much. So the goal here is to relish. The goal is to serve Krishna and not capture Krishna or to control Krishna. Here it is said that Krishna knows that living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestations of his different energies. Vibhuti, as used in this verse, refers to opulences by which he controls the whole manifestation. So very, very mercifully, Krishna has agreed to answer or to answer basically the request, to fulfill the request of Arjuna, and he is going to describe few of his opulences which are pretty prominent. Here it is said, both in the material world and in the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestation. Now Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man, thus part of his variegated energy is described in this way. So his opulences are distributed everywhere. Where all we will tell, where all will wait. So it's distributed everywhere. And out of that, Krishna is going to now describe few of them. Now, when Krishna is describing these opulences, what does that mean and how is that helping us? This is what we need to understand. So whenever we see anything great in this world, or whenever we hear anything great of the other worlds, immediately we need to remember Krishna. So what now Krishna is going to do from next sloka onwards is, he is going to speak about a group, and then he is going to say that in that particular group, this particular prominent person is me. He is my representative. So whenever you see him, whenever you look at him, whenever you hear about him, oh Arjun, you have to remember me. That's what is going to happen now. So let's see Krishna's opulences, very nicely described by Krishna himself from next video onwards. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.